let us talk about what underlies and underpins every transaction at Carlyle, every transaction of President Biden, and that is a financial system where it is price down, yield up. If I take the Lehman Index, the Bloomberg Total Return Aggregate Index, essentially, David, we've never seen this. How does the financial system adapt to such losses in bonds?
Well, the financial system will adapt. It always does. Markets correct, and the markets will correct now. I think we've had a time of enormous ebullience in the markets, low interest rates, very high growth rates, and now it's changing. You can't go on forever as it was. So now it's slowing down a bit. I don't think it's a calamitous situation, but clearly the growth market right now is not great. And I would say interest rates are going to come up for a while and probably put us into what somebody in the Carter administration used to call a banana. He didn't want to use the word recession. So Carter said, don't use the word recession, use some other word. And Fred Kahn, the inflation advisor, said, all right, I think we might be in a banana. So I don't want to say we're in a recession. I don't know if we're in a banana, but it's something close between a recession and a banana.
Okay, so then Biden this morning, when he was asked about it, should have said banana, because you think that that's the more realistic outcome.
There are many different definitions of recession, so I don't want to be quoted saying we're in a recession.
Yeah,
Nobody really knows yet for sure. But clearly the economy is not as robust as it was the last couple of years, in part because of COVID, the effects of that, in part because of the war in Ukraine, in part because interest rates are going up again. And so if all those things come together, it's not a great economic environment. On the other hand, if you're an investor, prices have come down to the point where there's some really good bargains now, and I think a lot of people that buy at the bottom are looking pretty happy now.
Do you think that right now this is a bottoming out that you see? In other words, from the conversation that you're having, is there more optimism about investing now than pessimism about the recession or banana?
Well, it depends. If you own a lot of these assets and they've gone down, you're not so optimistic. But if you don't own those assets and you now have some fresh capital to invest, it's a lot better now than it was a while ago because prices are a lot low. If you own assets, the ones you own may not be worth as much, but you don't have to sell those assets at these prices. But right now, people are going to make a lot of money buying at these prices, I believe, because prices are pretty low now relative to where they've been.
But David, to Andrew Mellon in another time and place, are we going to see the elites do a national roll-up of our assets while with inflation the middle class is flat on their back? And to get specific, Blackstone taking the heat, but private equity, private money is going after residential housing as a sound investment. And there's a raging debate about that. Is this a shell game of the elites where the middle class beleaguered doesn't get to participate?
First of all, Blackstone and Carlyle and other firms, they basically represent pension funds to a large extent, which are teachers, firemen, policemen, and so forth. So it's not exactly the elites who are buying it for themselves. They're buying it for pension funds to a large extent. Secondly, the economy is much different than Andrew Mellon's period of time. There are a few people that did control the economy. So now it's a much bigger economy. It's a global economy. It wasn't when Andrew Mellon was Secretary of Treasury.
Meanwhile, we are looking at the turmoil, and I do wonder whether you think that Davos still has the same relevancy that it once did.
This bad puppy.
Davos, I think, is relevant because people are still coming. If people didn't come, it wouldn't be relevant. People are coming because when you can go in one place and you see the CEOs and the heads of state of so many different places, it's a good thing. It's very convenient. So if I wanted to see some of the people here, I would have to spend 6 months going around and meeting all these people.
Now that's 30 days out. This obviously gets a little bit more.
Now, are we going to solve all the global problems in the world in the next 4 days? Probably not. But I don't see anybody that comes here and says, you know, I wish I was somewhere else. People come here because they think it's actually a good chance to meet other people. And because we've been in COVID environment for so long, some of these people haven't been seen by others for 3 or 4 years in person. I haven't seen some of these people for 3 years.
In the mill, talking about whatever we were talking about in there, probably micro scorpions on, customers macro here, Snowflake.
What can private capital do to assist our government in projecting a new American vision there? You know, I think of the Ayala family in the Philippines and other large pools of capital.
This torque test on the dyno.
Our nation by projecting and advancing
capital. You getting me? Negative 272 Kelvin. I expect there to be a little bit of the object in there.
Firms and other large corporations are investing enormous amounts of money in Asia. Asia has grown dramatically in the last 40 or 50 years since Nixon went to China. It's an incredibly different world. We aren't pulling back dramatically. I think the investment in China is pulling back a bit because of some of the regulatory concerns there and the economic concerns in COVID. But money is flowing into other countries. countries. India is a good example. Japan is a good example. Korea is a good example. A lot of Western money is going in there now. So I don't think we're pulling out from the Pacific Rim. And I think Biden is, when he's there now, as he is, he's talking about American capital coming in. I think American capital is coming in.
LEDs that make the Jews
Progress
kill the
starts
Jews, the
the
Romans
moment
kill
we
the
see
Jews,
global
the Jews
challenge
kill the
for what it
Romans, kill the
truly can
Jews,
be.
kill Putin, and everybody else around here. Sharps. Think Sharps.
See purpose in challenge with Deloitte.